going on the past 2 days.
Drop the bomb.
You know that thing, when they say, if you keep doing the exact same thing and you keep getting this exact same result, that pretty much is a definition of insanity. Well, the exact same thing has been happening for 3 seasons, and the exact same results have been happening for the last 3 seasons. And yet, the owner of the Fire thought it was a great idea to give George Heights a 4th season.
This is all his baby right now. Like, and somebody said it on Twitter, and they said, like, what is really different about this team from the Hotman days besides more money?
Yeah,
the results are the same.
It's this exact same thing. It's
maybe worse. The results are actually worse because there's more money being lost and spent on this.
And the thing that's mind-boggling is that at least with with the Hoffman days, you knew the guy was like a penny pincher, so you wouldn't be expecting anything major to happen. Mansueto's throwing money around, but it seems like he doesn't care if this guy grabs his money and burns it in a trash can. Like, you got a GM that barely knows the rules of the MLS. Probably doesn't have any contacts with any other GMs across the leagues in terms of trying to make a deal, trying to make a trade, or anything like that. He literally just strikes me as the fact that he is there as a favor from Mansueto for getting him FC Lugano. He was like the in for that. Because honestly, he hasn't done anything. He's messed up the DPs. He's made bad deals that we're paying for it now, and we're gonna pay for it for the next couple of seasons. And unfortunately, that's kind of the situation right now, is that it almost makes you wonder if Mansueto actually really cares about making this team competitive.
Yeah, he doesn't. This all of a sudden we seem to be of the forgotten toy.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, so do you want to be a selling club that to a point that you don't want to be competitive? All you want to do is just keep pumping out kids out of the academy and try to sell them to Europe. Because that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like, if you look at the highlights of their achievements, a big part of that was, oh yeah, we got these 10 academy players moved up to the first team, and we did the Gaga transfer to Chelsea
for 10 million.
With 10 million,
and we almost blew it. And we almost blew it.
Yeah, and we signed John Durant. Like, okay, cool. You know how to do transfers. Now, where's the trophies? I don't see any trophies in the achievement list.
You don't even know how to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone trophies. He doesn't even know how to make the playoffs in MLS. He doesn't know how to field a remotely competitive team in the last 4 years. And also the coaches that he's brought us, not good enough. Wiki,
I will say
not good enough. Ezra, I'm excited. I'm still a little excited. I'm more excited with the second year of Ezra than I am for the second year of Wiki.
And I was gonna say this. I spoke. Like I mentioned last week, I spoke to Ezra. And even now, his current the last press conference he had, it almost hinted like he was kind of throwing a little shade on George Heights in terms of is he gonna come back or not. But yeah, and on that note, let me let you go. I'll get on back in a little bit. All right.
All right. Tokyo says he's coming on in about 10 minutes. He has a theory. Whenever you can, though, DPG. All right. That was DPG talking a little bit about Skip Bayless and Rick Bayless's relationship and our Chicago Fire, our fading flames for the Chicago Fire currently here in Chicago, and the struggles that they've been encountering since the inception of Joe Mansueto's purchase of the team. Thanks for joining us here on Spinfire. Everybody, guys, kick that like button, subscribe for more Spinfire, and hit that bell icon to get notified of our live streams. Greatly appreciate you guys hopping in, hanging out today. As always, it's always fun hanging out with you guys and getting it going. Wednesday, as always, setting the tone. I'm going to finish up this 202 passing yards. Yeah, this is a Justin Fields game. 202 passing yards, 79 rushing yards. Maybe a little more rush, though. You definitely need to fix the rush. Where is this Rick Bayless video? Ooh. Can I click that? Where'd it go? So let's finish this Rick and Skip relationship video.
Honestly, I don't lose any sleep over that.
Of course you don't. Yeah, this is the part throughout this. He does seem a little. I mean, well, he's a little. Maybe he's a little narcissistic, and that's what actually propelled him.
This is simply the way it was from the very, very start. As soon as he was 3 or 4 and I was 5 or 6, there was no relationship at all. But occasionally I sit back and I think about how billion-to-one incredible it is that my brother and I came out of that little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house on 43rd Street in Oklahoma City. We shared a bedroom for 14 years. I'll take the top, you take the bottom. And somehow we both rose out of all that to some national prominence. I love my little brother, Ricky, even if I don't really know him. I hope you enjoyed that video.
That crushed me.
More? Make sure
that ending crushed me. Listen to this.
Even if I don't really know him. I love my little brother, Ricky.
He does.
Even if I don't really know him.
But you got to do something, Skip, man. I'm challenging you, dude. I don't know. There's no way that this video probably ever makes it to you. But, man, if it does, I just hope that you give a call to your brother. And be like, hey, get a round of golf. Come on. You guys got to do something like golf or skiing or something. There's got to be something you could do with your brother now that you guys can go and you don't have to fix this relationship. You just put a little more attention to it. Put a little more love and care to it. Because this is just. We got Tokyo. We got a spotting. We got a sighting. No. What's up, Toke?
Just trying to enjoy myself, man. It's it's a school night, so to speak, and just trying to have a good time.
Ooh.
Did I just miss DPG?
Yeah,
I heard
he'll be hopping in.
I heard those silky tones.
Yeah, he was here.
I had to get out here. My man. Hey, how are you playing Madden? Come on, dog. It's not 2005.
I know, man, but I've been fiending for a little not soccer, and I wanted to fix the Bears. I'm just like, if Poles can't do it, if all the other idiots can't do it, then I will. So I just had a little fantasy.
Yeah, gotta fix something, right?
Yeah, because these idiots can't, then leave it to this idiot.
Yeah, for real, dude. So what? Okay, hold on. I have to ask. I hate to. You don't have to. You can boil this down to the least common denominator. Why did Skip Bayless sit there and empty his soul? What happened? Right.
So Skip runs a podcast, and apparently in this podcast he talked about how Stephen A was more of a brother to him than his own brother, world famous chef, Michelin star chef Rick Bayless. And when I was like, wait, what? Rick Bayless is Skip Bayless's brother? I never put the two together. Despite knowing both.
Okay, well, fair, because Rick's got like a few restaurants around here, right?
Yeah, he does. Besides the Frontera Grill, I could look this up. Let's Rick Bayless's restaurant, so we can shout out there. Rick Chicago.
I don't want to say anything offensive.
Frontera, Joko, Lenya Brava.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Not to sound rude, I don't know Skip Bayless's heritage, but Rick, at least he looks like a white dude making a bunch of Hispanic food. Am I correct?
He is. He
Okay.
is. He grew up in Oklahoma City, and that's what we hear in essentially a barbecue rib house.
Okay.
That was
fair.
kind of his upbringing. With his parents, his dad ran this failing restaurant for years until it finally he absconded with his girlfriend, left the whole business to them.
I heard a very minor part of that because I had to get sustenance. I had to eat. so I heard DPG. He was a little sad. Yeah, no, this sucks, man. I can't believe they re-signed Heights.
Hey, I can't believe that. What is going on?
I can only in the sense that, like, here's my coping mechanism theory that I'm starting to develop, which is he's starting to realize he doesn't know how to be successful in Major League Soccer. And two things are concurrently happening. He doesn't want to cut the cord now because he knows he can't make the next right decision. So he doesn't want to set the club back 10 years. And then on top of that, Heights must be a hell of a salesman because he's just selling them on this dream. Like, I think the problem is Mansueto is a little trusting. Like, Heights can come to him and say, yeah, it's going to take me 6 years, but we're going to be like world famous and we're going to win every, MLS Cup every year and X, Y, and Z. But he's buying it. You know what I mean? Whereas, like,
We're not even. What are you buying, buddy?
well, but that's what I'm saying. He's buying the dream. The thing is, I think he is looking at it like, I don't want to be overreactionary. The people who build things are the successful ones. I'm willing to be patient. Well, he's being patient with the wrong people.
That's the problem. That is exactly the problem, Toke. He's being patient with the wrong people at the wrong time. This is not the time to be patient. This is the time to keep finding until you find a gem. Do you have a gem? Well, no, you don't. You keep finding. You keep sifting through the pan for gold.
I mean, we talked about Lagerway. We talked about all these things. And that, I don't know, it's just difficult to see what the vision actually is. Like re-signing Gaston Jimenez, re-signing Heights.
There is no vision. And I know I'm screaming this at you, but there's no vision because, and I know there's no vision because Shakir Weaver was never part of the plan. There is no
it was just
vision.
The most expensive, shiny thing available at the time.
And the best shiny thing he could get.
Right, you're right.
Name recognition, everything. It's like, oh, this fits all the holes that I seemingly am trying to fill. It's a name player. It is a talent. It is a number 10. He fits all of the roles he will bring a notoriety to Chicago. And sure enough, he will make us team successful. And then we're thinking about like, yeah, but what about the rest of the fucking team?
It's tough, man. Because, I was fooled at the beginning of the season thinking that there was going to be some talent here, but that was the idea that it would be built upon. Now, I really feel like Heights somehow looked this man in his eyes. I feel like Heights is evil is a step too far because let's face it, this is sports. Who really gives a shit? But I feel like Heights is out here plotting. He's in Mansueto's ear saying, dude, look at all the injuries. Next year they'll perform. It'll be great. And then he's really seeing what's going on. And he's like, well, I could keep this job for another year, not have to work too hard. And when it fails, I'm throwing Ezra Hendrickson under the bus. Like, which would suck because Ezra Hendrickson is a person that you should be patient with, not Heights. You know what I mean?
Yes, we're being patient with the wrong person. Ezra's the one we should be patient here with, not Heights. But the problem is, Ezra's Heights is higher, and if you get rid of Heights, I mean, there's no promise that the next guy keeps Ezra, and you don't. In fact, I don't want him to. I want the next guy to be able to do his own thing.
Nah, Ezra is. I would say this: if you were to talk to people in the know, in the industry, right, like the people actually working those types of jobs, I'm sure Hendrickson has mad respect in Major League Soccer circles. You know, so I even like say a Garth Lagerwey, I'm sure would come, like, because didn't he was in Columbus and stuff, but was he in Seattle before that? Like for a hot sec? I don't remember, but
Lagerwey?
No. Hendrickson.
Hendrickson was in Seattle, LA
Yeah,
Galaxy,
that's what I'm saying. He was
in Columbus.
Even if you would have brought Lagerwey, he probably would have kept him and given him the tools to be successful. Like, it just, dude, it feels.
But that's the only one. Toke, that is the only GM out there who's going to retain Ezra Henderson. Maybe there's the Columbus Columbus person might retain him. But the list is very small of amount of GMs that are going to retain Ezra Henderson. And still, think about this: if Garth Lagerwey is coming here and he wants to put his imprint on this, you really think he's going to put all his eggs in basket in Ezra Hendrickson? No, fuck no, he's not. He's going to go get a fucking guy. He's going to go hate his guy. And Ezra ain't it. Ezra's not going to be his guy. I'm sorry to say. Ezra would be on his list of assistant coaches and people he wants to help fill out, but that's not on his short list of guys to run his squad that he needs to produce. It's just not. And the proof is in the pudding because they've let him go.
Dude, what sucks is, you know what? I was actually listening to, oh man, what's that one that, the Soccer Conversation podcast, and
Brian Sandelau.
Yeah, they said they put into words something I was kind of thinking is like, because when I heard this, I was like, yay, I'm gonna bitch and complain. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not even all that mad because it was just like, oh well, I can literally set my watch to this. They're gonna be bad for 2 more years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, so because like, let's be for real. I'm on here talking about the Fire, but dog, I watched probably 10, 12 games this season, and then, you know, just lost interest in most of the other ones. You know, just watched highlights and listened to podcasts, and you know what I'm saying? Like, checked out different stuff. Like, you know, like
34 game season, I think I caught about 17 to 20. I missed a good chunk like you did, and caught a few on I watched quite a few with you guys on chat, and
yeah, I guess, you know what, I take that. Oh, that's what I would do actually. Sorry.
You would. Yeah,
I would just sit in your chat, and I actually wouldn't watch the game. I would just hear from you guys what was going on. Like, I would be doing other shit listening to this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That would be it. Like, and that's the thing. It's because the worst thing that could happen is that we don't care. Like, if the internet exploded the other night, like, you go to Twitter right now. Is anybody even talking about this? Like, is this even hot still? Or did everybody just like, oh, you know what I mean? And move on and not care?
The Fire fans are dwindling. They're finding other things to become fans of. The Bears. Just like, I just don't know how this team wants to maintain our attention and try to compete in this industry, in this global industry of attention, with the product they're putting out. In Chicago, this shit might work in Kansas City, where they only have the Chiefs.
It wouldn't even work there. Like, look, that's how those smaller teams die, is when they suck this long.
The Royals,
you know what I
mean?
The
Wizards did make the playoffs, though. I think, didn't they? Somehow made the playoffs.
Who? Sporting? No way.
No way.
Nah, Sporting was garbage.
I hope you enjoyed that video
because they lost all their talent at the beginning of the year with year-ending surgeries.
That's probably right. MLS table, Western Conference. Sporting was, they're 12th. They're way not. How does their coach Pino Vermes still have a job? How is he not the Chicago Fire coach already? And also, I mean, how is the Chicago Fire GM still in a job? Like this, what's his face? The Don should step in. Like, what are you doing?
The Don liked it in the old days where they didn't fire coaches. Like, remember at a time, like, you would get one firing a season, like early. Other than that, everyone would just sit with their coach until the end of the season.
That's because they don't want to spend money.
Exactly, but that's changed. You know what I'm saying? Like people get fired now. Like how many coaches did we lose this season? Like in the first couple months, probably 7, right?
A lot of the bad ones got fired, but
well, except for old boy in Miami, which somehow turned that crap around.
That was a miracle. Yeah, I mean that's a Neville brother though. Got to think that he's got some idea of soccer. Hopefully, I mean he's failed almost everywhere else he's went.
Yeah, I don't remember which Neville I like, but I like one of them.
I like
the one who's on the ones who's on TV talking mess all the time.
That's Gary. I like Gary. The one who's on TV.
Yeah,
I do not
Gary's
like
good
Phil.
people.
Phil is the coach. But I was thinking about this as you're talking earlier. You're talking about what was holding back some of these MLS squads, and I'm starting to think the DP. The DP is and you were talking about the makeup of the team and how we're spending all this money, and I'm realizing that's kind of the problem with MLS. Like we are, some of these teams are actually kind of forced to spend a whole bunch of money on something that's not going to fix the problems on their team. Now imagine taking that $8 million and signing 4 $2 million players.
Well, yeah, that it's like here's your budget to renovate your house, but you can only spend 4 times as much on one room
on the
and
back
then the
deck.
rest of them. Yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. So it's just that's where. And it's tough. It's not going to change for probably another 10 years. I mean, they got a CBA and that goes through 2027, right? Or you know what I mean? So
yes,
that's not going to change. And you saw how regressive it got as soon as they didn't ratify that thing and they used the pandemic to their advantage to bring wages and everything else down. You know what I mean? Like to hinder the rules, because so they got, due to the pandemic in 2020, the CBA wasn't ratified right away. And so because of that, they legally, because they agreed in good faith, which every other year in human history wouldn't have been a thing. It would have just been ratified. Everything would have been cool. But because they had their legal loophole, they bent the players over. And so none of the triggers that would accelerate the league, like those were all delayed. And then their leverage, where it was going to end before the World Cup, got pushed to after the World Cup. Like, it was garbage, dude. And I don't know why people don't bring that up more. Like, that's so, like, not only it just, oh god, everything with the pandemic is just disgusting. The exploitation, the demand, it's just disgusting.
You brought up an incredible point. Did MLS players get gypped by the league? Did they get taken?
They got taken advantage of because they were in because remember, going into the CBA, they had the advantage at the negotiating table and they had all the momentum. And there was a lot of triggers of a lot of more spend, a lot of more protections that were happening. Like after year 1, this triggered. After year 2, this triggered.
And after this year, they were going to have X amount of flights available for everybody. And we're going to be finally, everybody has flights.
Yeah. And so, like I said, it was just like literally legalese. Like they ran out of time. So technically the players, like they were playing not under a CBA, but they continued on under good faith, which had happened in the past. But because the pandemic happened, they couldn't legally get it ratified in time, like the way it would have any other year that ever existed. You know what I mean? So they took advantage of the players and slowed the progress of their own league, which is just disgusting. Like, it sucks because, like, you look at people like Anschutz, who's just an awful human being. You look at the Hunts, who like did amazing things, but they're cheap asses. And like, you know what I mean? It's like, is it time for the dinosaurs to die for real?
Yes.
Because I mean, I feel like there are some teams out here, and hopefully it seems like Mansueto included, like, right? Like, I just think he just doesn't know how to spend his money wisely yet. And he's like relying on Heights to do that for him. It just isn't working. But I don't know, man. It's dark days.
Some spending parameters have to change. We got to get rid of these lockdown DPs. It's saddlebagging the team to be able to have to pay that much money on one player. Let them spread the love. On top of that, do we have to get certain owners out and bring more different owners in? I mean, and even still, think about this. Joe Mansueto is not even in the top 10 richest MLS owners. And he's the guy who runs the third biggest metropolitan area as far as in TV. The biggest market is Chicago. You have the 15th highest billionaire in MLS owning it, Chicago. Chicago's used to the best. I'm sorry. And Joe Mansueto is a fantastic businessman, great businessman from Chicago, but
I gotta stop you right there.
Dude,
Chicago is a town of fucking losing. Are you kidding me? We support the losers. How long between World Series for the Cubs, the White Sox? How long has it been since the Bulls have been like anything? And I mean, they're okay, but I'm talking about winning, right? Like the Bears, what are we talking about?
The Bears are still talking about 1985.
I was watching that on a Betamax, bro. Like, come on.
I mean, Ed Obradovich has won one of the Bears championships, and that was in 1963.
I mean, we've had good seasons. We've had some good seasons, right? Like, the Cubs 98 and 03, the Bears 07, or what was that? Whatever. Devin Hester. Long live Devin Hester. Anyway, we've had good seasons. Oh, okay. I take that back. You know what? The Blackhawks. I forget about them routinely because hockey has never been a factor in my life. Hockey has been as big of a factor in my life as NASCAR, meaning I've only played it on a video game.
Oh, I played hockey. I grew up playing hockey. My dad coached me in hockey. I am a hockey fiend.
I feel you. See, I don't ever think about that, but they were good for a long time. Like they were good long enough that they can suck for a while, and people are like, yeah, no, they're still cool.
Yeah, I mean, they won 3 championships in like 6 years,
which was wild.
No other fucking Chicago team besides the Bulls can fuck with that.
The Bulls were super good, but that's been a minute, man. That's been a minute.
It has.
It's sad though. I will say the Bulls were gonna win it that year. Rose won the MVP, but he got injured in what was that, the first round of the playoffs?
Oh my God, they were so good that year.
That was a thing of beauty. They were so good. But yeah, no, I didn't mean to totally derail you. I had to interrupt you because we talked about some of the good times, but I do feel like Chicago sports is usually in the gutter.
I mean, look at the Bears right now. They're not going to be a good team. They're already looking to trade everybody.
Really? I thought they started out okay.
Oh,
I don't watch football neither.
The Bears are looking to trade Robert Quinn. They're looking to trade anybody on this team who they can get some picks for, basically. Besides Justin Fields, who they still aren't sure of. Justin Fields actually seems like he's showing some things. He's an elite runner. He's one of the best running quarterbacks in the league, but he has to make some things different choices when it comes to choosing to sling the ball. There was a video of Kurt Warner showing how Justin literally looks at the open guy, doesn't pull the trigger, and I wonder if that goes back to Nagy's offense.
I mean, maybe he's 23 years old. Or whatever a kid is his age, like that, that's why you let them develop, because their brain, people's brains are not even done developing until you're like 25. Like,
right?
Come on, dog. Like, that's why you develop players. That's one thing that got me out of football, is just the sheer buzzsaw of it, where it's just like, oh man, he's a Pro Bowl, player, but he's on his 3rd season. Cool, we'll give you a 17th round pick. It just does not make sense to me. Like,
half the time,
just the way they just discard proven talent. It's wild.
They definitely
But-
do. Football is known for that, and it's not for long. It's a not for long league. And I mean, there's guys that are in their 20, 27, 26 years old who have retired that were like once first round running backs, like first round fantasy picks on running backs. I'm of course talking about Todd Gurley over at the Rams. It's just like the grueling sport that is football.
Wait. There was a cat named Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
That's awesome.
And he was a beast. Like absolute beast. Like he could run you over and oh man, it would not look good. He was just a big person. And he did not have a long career. He had like a weird knee injury and boom, it was over for him. And then you have these other anomalies like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers going out to their 38, 45 years old. And then you have other people like Matt Ryan, 32, 33, 34, and Russell Wilson, 32, 33, and starting to look like they're running into the wall here.
Russell Wilson, he's getting cooked on Twitter. I don't know. Did he play really poorly?
He's been playing really poorly all season long.
Okay.
And
you know what? That man can do whatever he wants. He married Sierra. I say do whatever you want. Dude. Oof, that used to be my celebrity crush of all time, my man.
She's a good, yes, she is. But that's also part of the problem apparently with Russell. It's gotten to the point where his players on his own team, I'm talking about Beast Mode and Richard Sherman talking on a recent podcast. Beast Mode was their famous running back, and Richard Sherman famous.
Oh, was that Marshawn Lynch or whatever?
Marshawn Lynch, and Richard Sherman's their famous Legion of Boom set cornerback, and they were on a podcast talking about the only way they can get a hold of Russell Wilson is by going through his people. Through his people. And then Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk were all talking about it, and they're like, people? Like what? Like not even Peyton Manning has people. Peyton Manning's people is him. Like you gotta text Peyton Manning's assistant, it's Peyton. But not the case for and that's the funny thing that Pat McAfee was saying. He's like, like if these people are trying to seek greatness. And I saw greatness up close with Peyton. Like they're chasing at it. They're chasing at it the wrong way.
It's kind of wild, man. Like
the players, their buddies can't even get a hold of him. Marshawn Lynch, like I can't even text him. So it's like I can't even tell him send him support. And it's like so what can I do now?
Not necessarily the people part, but like you can kind of understand it. Like he's 34 years old. What are you gonna do? Like back in the day when you're in the league and you're 24 years old, you're gonna go out and drink and do blow with your buddies after the game, but or after practice.
But when you're married to Sierra,
when you're married to Sierra, I'm not sure why you leave the house. But when you're married and you got kids and mansions and brands and agents and nonsense and 503Cs to hide your whatever, like it's a little bit different life, you know what I mean? From we're a team, let's go out to the bar. Oh, it's 4 a.m. Like that stuff changes when people get older, my man. Like it changes.
Hold on, I lost something here. There it is. Okay, cool.
What you lose the football?
No, I lost the stream. I was making sure we were still streaming. But I guess you're right about that. I didn't think about that aspect. Maybe he does want to deal with less people, but I just think about the human issue that he's kind of created. He's put a buffer in between him and his teammates, him and his former teammates, him and his supposed friends. There's a buffer. We're talking about Russell Wilson and his